Divorce Karen. Haven't had a need to see a manager since. Blink 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 blink. r/AskReddit. Redditors who are married to Karens. How is it like? It is the absolute best. I love my wife. Edit. I didn't write that. Blink twice if you're being held captive. Edit. He seems to be held captive. He's under Karentine. I knew from the beginning that there would be difficulties, but I loved her and made the leap to make her my forever partner. Yes, her attitude towards certain people and things confused me at times, but by keeping an open mind and accepting her for who she was, everything has worked out well. We've been married for 10 years, we have a darling daughter, and I've even come to love my wife's kimchi fried rice. Karen, not Korean. Edit. I didn't mean this as a joke, and my dull bum literally thought the guy read it wrong. I'm very confused how I got more attention than the original post, but thanks I suppose. Soulmates not sealmates. Not married to one, but my mom is absolutely one. I spend most of my time with her in public apologizing to people after she's walked away. The one and only time it comes in handy is when I've bought cars and had her come in during the price negotiation phase. She's knocked off thousands purely due to how unpleasant she is and how much people want her to just get the hell out of the door. Weaponized a Karen. Nice. Only appropriate to use on unsympathetic targets, like car salesmen. Not married to one, but my aunt is. My uncle is this soft-spoken giant. He never stands up to her in any way, except once. At their daughter's wedding, she was about to interrupt the ceremony to close a window because she was chilly. Everyone sitting close could hear her whisper, "I'm going to do it, but I don't want to be in butthole." My uncle, in a calm quiet tone, says quickly, "Why stop now?" Almost as if his filter just missed this one. I swear I could hear my dad snort to Rose back, trying to hold in laughter. Karen was not happy. My mom's a Karen. She is self-aware. She is a Karen. My siblings and I sent her memes about it. When my stepdad divorced her last summer, we were all amazed he lasted 17 years, to be honest. None of us like going out with her. It's terrible, and my husband just straight up tells her, "No, you aren't talking to the manager when we go in a place." I'll tell you guys a story my step told us. They are farmers and own a small beef and bee farm. They have a store they go to for bee supplies. The owner called my stepdad and asked him to please be the one to pick up their stuff because his staff was tired of dealing with my mom. He is the only one who went to the store for the next 5 years. I'm just wondering if your mom is aware of her Karen-ness. How does she react to the memes and to feedback like that she's not welcome at stores and is a jerk at restaurants? It's interesting that you guys don't seem to be afraid to point it out to her, and yet she apparently hasn't improved. Or maybe she has, like other posters have mentioned. My mom's friend sent a Karen meme to one of their mutual friends. She blocked that friend's number and social media and has literally ignored her since and refused to talk about it with any of their mutual friends. Classic Karen. My mom is a Karen. She thinks the world is supposed to cater to her, serve her, and everyone else is wrong. Once we went to Carl's Jr., she ordered 4 burgers for the 4 of us. She pulls one out of the bag while the guy's getting our drinks and hides it. She complains that he forgot a burger. She pulls them out one by one and counts it in front of him. It's obviously missing because she hid it, and he's swearing up and down he put them all in the bag. I'm stunned speechless, and it happened so fast. She got a free burger and laughed as we drive off. Him just staring at her, and she opens it up to eat it on the drive home. And she ate her actual burger like the 5th one never existed. I can't even explain how she is when she's in the hospital. She treats it like a luxury stay in a hotel. Wow. My condolences. Your mother is a thief, plain and simple. Her justification would be, they charge so much money for food that it serves them right for me to take another burger. Co-worker of mine is married to a Karen. He tells us stories multiple days a week, how she drives to 4 different grocery stores and harasses the employees because their stock is low on the specific item she wants. My ex-wife is a Karen, in every sense but name. It was always so embarrassing. She was incapable of treating anyone like a human for the most trivial of occurrences. It was hell for me, as a person that's pretty forgiving and don't seek out confrontation. So in a one-word description, it was hell. Lol. PS she's very codependent and jumps from relationship to relationship these days. Not surprised. Was she like that when you were dating? She was very outspoken but nothing like she was later in the relationship. At the time we were both young and partied a lot, so I chalked it up to the drinking. She's also obsessed with anything new age, self-help books, and psychics. There were numerous red flags before marriage, but I was young and naively thought she'd change. You can guess how that worked out. Lol. Yikes. It's like she knows something's wrong with her and tries everything besides actual therapy to fix it. God, it must be stressful to just be in her brain. Good for you for doing the healthy thing and getting away. My sister is a Karen. Everyone feels so sorry for her husband. Everything is his fault. He is treated like a slave. She only addresses him by yelling. She constantly insults him. We have no idea why he hasn't divorced her or flipped out and attacked her. We have all told her to cool it, and her response is that he's just so stupid. I could go on and on, but my sister really is a horrible person. It's 4 PM. Time for your peen flattening. Yes honey. My sister too. I had to ask her to leave my apartment once because she was yelling so loudly and I didn't want my neighbors to complain. She said it was the only way anyone would listen to her. But her husband is a cheating alcoholic, so I don't feel bad for him. They really just make each other's lives miserable. But they love talking about their sex life, so apparently that's solid. Angry breakup 6, followed up by sad crying. Makeup sex must be their kink. My mom is a literal Karen, as in, it's her name. But she's like a bizarro Karen. She will constantly ask to speak with managers and supervisors and bosses. But when said managers arrive, she unloads about the employee helping her out was fantastic, hardworking, and friendly. And then she'll spend 20 minutes trying to figure out if she and the manager know someone in common. 9 times out of 10 they do. As a kid it would embarrass me. As an adult it's one of my favorite things about her. She makes people feel good about the work they do. And it's really special to watch how wonderful she makes people feel. Plus she's got long gorgeous silver hair. Edit. Karen and I are crying with all the love and support. She's a wonderful lady. And to give my fair city a much needed boost, this Karen is a lifelong Philadelphian. Thank you all for making mine and my mom's day. Stay safe out there. Not married but dated a male Karen for 8 years. He was a semi-successful business owner who was twice my age, and I was young and dumb for a lack of a better word. The gist of our relationship was him trying to take over every part of my life. For instance, he would order for me at restaurants and would dissuade me if I wanted to try something new. If I had a problem with something it would be brushed off, but if he had a problem then he had to talk to a manager. Not knowing any better I just thought he was very particular and even started copying some of his tendencies, like speaking up when I felt I wasn't getting the right service when I was out on my own. I realized who he was when we were flying back from Vegas and our luggage was heavier than when we flew in. Obviously we bought extra things which made up for the weight difference, so as he demanded to know an explanation from the check-in clerk as to why, if it was the same luggage would it somehow weigh more, I innocently answered that it must have been the extra shoes and clothes. He was quiet and paid up. Later he told me to not to do that again as he knew the reason why the luggage was heavier. He was just trying to get away with not paying. At that moment a bulb went off in my head. This man who'd spent $1,500 on a stripper for his friend was making an already stressful job more stressful for the clerk in order to avoid paying $60. We broke up soon after, and I checked myself on the Karen tendencies he drubbed off on me. Not the married to one, but my mom's a Karen. Literally overreacts to everything. Whenever something doesn't go her way, you guessed, gotta speak to the manager or whoever is in charge. Sometimes really embarrassing to go out in public with her because she'll just yell at the service workers for the smallest of things. Also she has a bob cut. My mom was a Karen for a while. She literally didn't realize it until my brother and I started calling her out on it when we were early teens because we're embarrassed. She made genuine efforts to change and a few years later was the sweetest woman you ever meet. Just saying there's hope. Not married to a Karen, but married someone with a Karen for a sister. Sister-in-law is the freaking worst. I hate more than anything going out to dinner with her, listening to her order food, and talk to the servers. Holidays are also terrible. She sends out long lists of expected gifts list. She celebrates every holiday and birthday specifically for presents even when it not appropriate. Funny thing is, one time I was away from the dinner table when the bill came, and sister-in-law waited for me to return to pay the bill by actually handing it to me. She didn't give it to her sibling / my significant other or pay her half, but expressly handed it to me to pay. By the way, her husband is an idiot and they are a match made in heaven. My sister and sister-in-law are both Karens. I will show up to restaurants 15 minutes early to warn them. I tell them, if it's not done to their liking they will hear about it, and they will make your shift hell. I'm just there as a warning. I used to work in restaurants and those people made life hell. I do what I can to help. Generally my drinks are better, and we get a free appetizer. As soon as those two tornadoes walk in all hell breaks loose. Not enough ice. Table is too cold. It's too loud, etc. I also tip really big because I don't want to associate it with the two tornadoes. I love overseas, so I only see them 2 weeks out of the year. So it's manageable. I know a couple with a Karen. She blamed him for everything. The husband was, in our opinion, something of a saint. Once she broke a glass in the kitchen, came and sat back down at the table, and said that was your fault. We all just stared at her. She looked sheepish, and said I knew that one probably wouldn't work. They're divorced now. I guess even saintliness has its limits. Edit. And now for the you can't make this up zinger, her first name is really and truly Karen. I taught my nephews, ages 9 and 11, about Karens last year when they stayed with us for a week after school let out. After describing trays and observing them in the wild, they asked somewhere around day 2, is our mom a Karen? My reply, your words, not mine. Not married 4 years of a toxic relationship though. I broke up with her on Monday, again. We are kinda ducked financially because of this lockdown, so we are just feeling things out for a month before we decide for sure. This cycle is on repeat. I constantly have to cut her off and speak over her because of the way she treats people. Waiters, sales assistants, gym staff, neighbors, landlords, randoms we meet in bars, etc. Note, we were both waiters at the beginning of our relationship, so she has worked in the industry but still lacks empathy. She blames the waiter if something is out of stock, etc. My second major issue. We are both English second language teachers. She teaches kindergarten while I teach high school. Now that we are working from home, I hear how she speaks to her students and it's really opened up another aspect of her personality that I don't like. She will berate a student for not understanding instead of evaluating her ability to explain. Chatting on 3-year-olds in their second language doesn't fly with me. A lot of her behavior stems from a self-defense mechanism due to insecurity, but that's not an excuse. She doesn't realize how mean she is to people, including myself. I'm a people pleaser that would rather sacrifice my own comfort than someone else's. She expects me to be in butthole to people because I'm a biggish guy with tattoos. I don't exactly look soft. It's toxic as hell. Please help. PS. The sex is so good it rivals most porn. Easily. Edit. This comment is blowing up. I appreciate all the objective advice. It's noted. I do research a lot of self-help and am aware of the codependency and enabling traits in my situation. For those making assumptions based on one comment, don't be a Karen. You want help to keep from getting back together again. Imagine next time you have this mind-blowing 6, she falls pregnant. Imagine sharing parenting with someone who teaches 3-year-olds and shats on them for mistakes. Your child being shat on by his/her mother, and very little you'd be able to do about it, and you'd be tied to her forever. Even if you did finally leave for good, go find better dude. You can do it. I dated a Karen for a while. Yes, the booty is the reason I stayed as long as I did. Let me guess, when she realizes she's not just being a basic beach sandwich and she's raised your dander from annoyance to beach. What is wrong with you? That's when the flirty side comes out. Like she realizes that she's crossed a line, and so now it's time to fog your mind with amazing sex the instant she can. That's an easy formula for things to turn toxic. She's associated sex with calming you down after she's pissed you off. So if she's horny, clearly she has to piss you off first, so there's something she can do to make it up to you. Meanwhile, every time she pisses you off, in the back of your head there's a part of you that likes it because hey, for however long you're pissed off right now, this is going to end in awesome sex. How can you hold a grudge? Escape, mother effer. How many Admiral Akbar gifs do you need to cut things off for good? Engaged to one, she was raised as a princess by her military raised father. However, she's super down to earth, but God forbid you work in the service industry and mess something up. She worked at IHOP during college, so it humbled her compared to her family. She just writes reviews now, good or bad, and emails corporate to complain. If something is wrong with my food, she refuses me to sit there and eat it, which I hate, but I have gotten her better about it, I believe. So maybe she is just a recovering Karen at this point. My mum is a bit of a Karen, and we are pretty much no contact now. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Whenever we'd go out to eat, it's always too cold. They don't have the brand of sparkling water she likes. They've put ice in her drink when she didn't want it. She always has to make some kind of modification to her order, etc. The list goes on. It got to the point where, if we were out shopping and she said she needed to return something, I'd just go somewhere else because I couldn't stand watching her be rude and argue with the staff. My parents are divorced, and I live with my dad now instead. Part of the reason I barely see my mum is because I'd have to meet her in public, go for a coffee or something, and I just can't deal with the way she behaves in these places, so I don't go. Not married to a Karen, but my mom is a Karen whose name is actually Karen. Simply put, I haven't seen her in over a year because I couldn't take it anymore. Living with her was just an exhausting nightmare. Karen's world revolves around Karen. Nobody else's issues matter. If you tell her that you had a bad day, she'll give you 20 reasons why her day was worse. You worked 60 hours this week. Well, when she was your age, she would work 80. You're in the hospital after having major surgery. She has a pinched nerve in her arm, which is somehow worse. Your boyfriend cheated on you? She couldn't even begin to tell you about all the heartbreak she's experienced in her life. She complains left and right about anything and everything. If you're taking a week break after just getting back from college, she'll ask why you haven't gotten a job yet and claim you're lazy. If you're out to eat at a restaurant, the food is always too cold, or too burnt, or too salty. You can only ever go to the places she wants to go to because everything else is crap. My entire graduation dinner she complained about how cold the food was. She thrives in getting attention and constantly seeks it, but she has very few actual friends. Facebook is her lifeblood, and she's always looking to start something on there. She's the queen of sharing uninformed, misguided, conservative propaganda, which always starts fights in her comments. Also, if a tragedy happens in the family, like the passing of my teenage cousin, she'll make a big scene on Facebook and expect condolences from anyone and everyone, and makes note of the people who don't give her what she wants. Don't even get me started on the blatant racism. I've heard everything from, watch out for black people on the subway. They'll try to take your purse, to it should be illegal for those Muslims to cover their faces. You should be able to see someone's face. One of my best friends is black, and she once told me he's one of the good ones. They should all be like him. Minor, but the house always has to be spotless. You have a shirt on your bedroom floor? Pick up. You kids are all slobs. We have people coming over. No, we don't. And even if we do, why would they be going in my bedroom? Her house is her house, and she'll let you know. Any object she has spent money on doesn't belong to you. It belongs to her. She also spends way too much money on home decor like oriental rugs, furniture, etc. But then complains about how she has no money. I'm divorcing a Karen. Nothing was ever good enough. Everything had to be the most expensive thing, and even then it wasn't good enough. It was exhausting, and it sucked the passion I had for life out of me.